2.2, where we're going to start solving word problems that we have to create an equation first. So, the how-tos, if you will. Read the problem, make sure all the words and ideas are understood. Identify what you are looking for. Traditionally, this is where your question mark is. Name what you are looking for. Choose a variable to represent that quantity. I always like to use the first initial, whatever I'm trying to find. Translate it into an equation. It may be helpful to restate the problem in one sentence with all the important information, then translate it to English sense into an algebra equation. Solve the equation using proper algebra techniques. Check the answer in the problem to make sure it makes sense. Answer the question in complete sentences. Now, important thing, number 6, that it makes sense. For example, if you're trying to find a distance, it should not come out to be a negative answer. Same thing with area, things of that nature. All right, example time. We're going to go baby steps here first. Very short sentences just to practice to get them into an equation. So I'm going to read the problem first. 2 more than a number is negative 14. Use the variable x. Okay, so the next time you read it, where you see the word number, that's where you're going to put your x. So 2 more than a number, we'll put an x there, is, or the form of the verb is your equal sign, and it's equal to negative 14. Here, the more than, remember that word than means we have to switch the 2 and the x around. So it's x plus 2 equals negative 14. Okay, subtract the 2, x equals negative 16. Number 2, 20 more than the difference between a number and 3 is 19. Use the variable x. All right, so where you see the word number, we're going to put an x. 20 more than the difference, key word. Once you have the difference, right from difference, we need parentheses. Between what? A number, x, and 3 is 19. Now again, we have 20 over here, but here's this more than, which means we have to switch the x minus 3 in parentheses and the 20 around. So that's what the equation looks like. Now we can go solve it. Technically, we don't need the parentheses, so we can add the 3 into 20. That's going to be 23. X is by itself on the left side, so to get it completely by itself, we're going to subtract over the 23. X is equal to negative 4. Number 3, there's that difference again. All right, 4 times the number and 7 is 10. Use the variable x. So difference of, right here, past the word and to 7, that's going to be my parentheses. So 4 times a number, that's my 4x, and 7, so minus 7, is equals 10. So since nothing's being multiplied to the parentheses, we can drop them and just leave it as 4x minus 7 is equal to 10. It's always good practice to put parentheses there because you never know what's going to happen in front of them or after them. Add over the 7 to get 17, divide by 4 to get 17 and a fourth. The quotient, same as difference. We're going to have parentheses. Of 2 less than a number and 5 is 8. Use the variable x. So again, quotient, parentheses. Where you see the word and, like we did up here, put the minus sign, you put the division sign. So 2 less than a number, x minus 2, we got to switch that around, and 5 is 8, is my equal sign. So I'm going to write this with a fraction bar, x minus 2 in parentheses. Again, nothing's being really multiplied to those parentheses. We are having division, so I opted to leave it. To get rid of the division of 5, I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. X minus 2 equals 40. I'm going to add over the 2, and x is equal to 42. Number 5, the product of 3 more than a number and 18 is 14. X is my variable. So again, product, answer to a multiplication problem. Multiplication goes to the and. 3 more than a number, so that's x plus 3, again, in parentheses. And 8 is 14. So there is my x plus 3 times 8 equals 14. Nothing being multiplied outside those bigger parentheses. so I don't need to have them anymore. So here, normally, I would like to divide by 8 because there's no adding and subtracting over here, but 8 doesn't go into 14 evenly, and I don't want to work with fractions. So I will do the distributive property. 8 times x is 8x, 8 times 3 is 24. What this does is it allows me to work with whole numbers or integers, and my fraction will appear on the last step. I subtract over the 24, 8x equals a negative 10, I divide by 8, we can reduce by 2, we get negative 5 fourths. Going a little too fast there. Alright, now we're going to graduate to more words, but they're just there to distract us. So Caitlin rode her bike a total of 19 miles. So this means it's going to equal 19. Now, she rode her bike from home to the library. So home to the library and then to the beach. All right, home, library, beach. The distance from Caitlin's house to the library is 13. So home to library is 13. So it's like 19 equals 13. And then they want us to find the distance from the beach to the library. That's my D. So 13 plus the D equals 19, or 19 equals 13 plus D. Both the same thing. Subtract over the 13. The distance from the beach to the library is 6 miles. All right, number 7, Ron's temperature was 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit higher this morning than it had been last night. His temperature this morning was 102 degrees Fahrenheit. What was his temperature last night? And they want us to use a T. So we start with T, and then the temperature went up to where it's equal to this in the morning. So that's going to be T plus 0.9 equals 100.2. Subtract over the 0.9, 99.3 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, Mayra paid $13.39 for a pack of 8 pairs of sports socks. What is the price of a pair of sports socks? Use P for the price of a pair of socks. So 8 times P equals $13.39. We want to find out what does it cost for just one pair of socks. We divide over the 8, and you get 1.67375. So here, that would be my official answer, but because we're talking money, we're going to round this to the nearest tenth. So we go to the 7, look to the 3, it's not going to round it up, so it's going to be $1.67 per pair. All right, number 9, Aiden is 36 inches tall. He is 4/5 as tall as his brother. How tall is his brother? Use B for his brother. So he is 4/5 times his brother is equal to 36. Now his brother has to be taller. So here's again one of the questions where when you come up with an answer, it's got to make sense. It would not make sense to take 4/5 of 36 because you'll get a smaller number. He's not as tall as his brother. His brother has to be taller than 36. So to get rid of the 4/5 that we're multiplying to b, we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. 4 goes into 36 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. So the brother is 45 inches tall. At a school concert, the total value of tickets sold was $3,746. Student tickets sold for $7 and adult tickets sold for $9. The number of adult tickets sold was 4 less than 6 times the number of student tickets. Find the number of student tickets sold. Use the variable S for the number of student tickets. Wait a minute. There were also adult tickets that we know nothing about, so even though they don't tell us, you may have to create another variable here. Okay, so my first equation comes from this right here. The total ticket sales. So I'm going to take $7 and multiply it to S, $7 for every student ticket. And I'm going to take 9 and multiply it to A for every adult ticket. And it has to equal 3,746. So the A, this is the one I introduced. So I'm going to keep it here because it said Find the number of student tickets sold. I don't want A in the equation because we're supposed to solve for student tickets, S. So that means there has to be another relationship, and that's this sentence. The number of adult tickets, so A is equal to 4 less than 6 times the students. So 6 times S minus the 4, that's what A is equal to. We're going to substitute this with parentheses around your A right there. Here we have to distribute the 9 because of the plus 7S, so that gives me 54S. 9 times minus 4 is minus 36. Combine our S terms, gives me 61S minus 36. Add over the 36. 61S is going to equal to 3,782. Now, at this point, I want to make a comment. Can you have half or a third or 0.2 or 0.9 of a ticket? No. So when you divide this out, you better get a whole number. We'll divide by 61, 3,782 divided by 61. That's going to be, drum roll, 62 on the dot. So there was 62 tickets for the students that were sold. All right, number 11. Harry has 248 feet of fencing to make a rectangular garden in his backyard. He wants the length to be 44 feet more than the width. Find the width, use the W for the width. But wait a minute, there's also length, which I have no idea. So again, L is equal to length, W will be my width. So we have two of them here. So it says he wants the length, L, to be equal 44 feet more than the width. That means L equals W plus 44. What is my other relationship? Well, because you're putting the fencing around a rectangular garden, we're going to use the perimeter formula for a rectangle. There's two lengths and there's two widths. All have to be added together, so you can call this 2L plus 2W equals the perimeter. 246 is the perimeter. We'll put W plus 44 in for the L using parentheses, and now the equation is all in terms of W. And we can solve for W. We have to distribute the 2. So 2W plus 88 plus 2W, we have to combine the two W's to make it a 4W. And then we can solve for W. We'll subtract over the 88. That's going to give me 160 equals 4W. We can divide by 4, and we get a width of 40 feet. Now, if you wanted to find the length, we could plug that in, but they're only asking us to find the width. All right, next, Ann has $3.40 in nickels and dimes. The number of dimes is 1 less than twice the number of nickels. Find the number of nickels, use N for the nickels. But again, wait a minute. We also have dimes, so I'm going to use the variable D for the number of dimes. Now it said dimes is 1 less than, so switch that around with twice the N, so 2N minus 1. Where is my other relationship? Well, it's right here. We know that nickels are worth 5 cents and the dimes are worth 10. So 0.05 times N plus 0.10 times D has to equal 3.40. That's my second equation. Now, since we're trying to find the number of nickels, now we have to replace the D with 2N minus 1 going in the parentheses. Distribute in the 0.10. That gives us 0.20N minus 0.1. You can combine the N terms to 0.25N. Now solve for N. Add over 0.10. That's going to give us 0.25N equals 3.50. Divide by 0.25. And again, because we're talking a physical object, there should be no decimal answer here. N comes out to be 14, so there's 14 nickels.